everyone, it's me on channel. Hi everyone, it's me on my channel, and today I bring you to a little bit of a different location because I am going to be talking you through my GCSE results from last year and having a little bit of a reflection on them. So I thought I'd come to the academic part of my room and bring you to my desk. So I took my GCSEs in summer last year, summer 2016, and the reason that I've decided to make this video now is because one, I wasn't doing YouTube back then, so I thought now would be an appropriate time, and two, this time last year I drove myself absolutely mental watching GCSE results videos because I was obsessed with GCSE results day, and it bothered me from the last exam, which was my physics exam on the 17th of June, right up until results day, which was the 25th of August. So I thought this might help you out a little bit if you're like scrolling through the depths of YouTube for results day videos. Another reason why I'm making this video is obviously there are a lot of good videos out there and all of them are amazing, but a lot of the GCSE results video is showing students that are absolutely incredible and they've got all A stars or all A's, and I remember for me personally last year I wanted to be somebody that was going to get all A stars and A's, but I know that actually that wasn't possible, and I feel like being somebody who got quite an all across the board set of GCSE results, I can really relate to those people that are watching the videos and thinking, oh, I'm not as good as these people that are getting all A stars and A's. Everybody is amazing and beautiful and talented in their own right, and if you don't get the set of GCSE results that you hoped for, just know that at the time it will feel like it probably, but it's not the end of the world and you did the best that you could do. And if you didn't, then work harder for A-levels, because A-levels will get you into your university if that's what you're looking for. So, yeah, wise words of wisdom, I hope. If you're watching in 2017, congratulations, you finished your GCSEs, you have done everything that you can do, and now it is just a waiting game, so just try and erase it out of your mind and think what will be will be. I guess the only other thing that they will matter for is if you're applying to a Russell Group university, maybe the highest of the Russell Group universities, for example Oxford or Cambridge, but other than that, as long as you get 5 A star to C grades, most places will accept you for further education, and if you're going into an apprenticeship, good luck with that too. So I am going to move on to my results from last year. So I think I'm going to start from the bottom and we're going to work our way up, moving on up. Name that song. So I think I'm going to start off with my lowest GCSE, which is a C in GCSE EdXLB Mathematics. Maths, as you can probably tell, was not my strong point during the lower school, and I think I really struggled when it got to GCSE. I mean, when I got something in maths, I was super pleased with myself and I loved it, but that only lasted for 5 minutes until we got to the next difficult topic, for example trigonometry, that I couldn't get my head around, and then I would go back to hating it and loathing it again. I'd known that maths was my weakness right from the very beginning, so at the beginning of year 11 I decided to get tutoring with one of my mum's friends who was an English and maths tutor, and it was quite a lot of money because it was private tutoring. I think it was £20 an hour, and I had 1 session per week for the year. So obviously my mum, funding quite a lot of money into this, was hoping for me to come out with quite a good grade in maths, and I felt like the sessions really helped me. She was such a lovely lady, and obviously they didn't help me as much as I thought because during year 10 I was on the CB borderline for the whole thing, so I don't know what happened. So a little bit of a plot twist here. I actually have 2 GCSE maths grades at a C now, because I decided after my C, firstly, I'm quite hard on myself academically, and it was really annoying me that I had 1 C out of all of my results, so I decided in the November to retake my maths exam, and I had quite a lot of lessons with another tutor who was a teacher at my school and a family friend. She was amazing, and I had a few maths tutoring sessions with her too, and I felt like I was so much more prepared than I was in the summer, even though I thought I revised quite a lot for this summer exam, and I still came out with a C. Obviously maths wasn't my thing, and I can just accept now that I'll never get higher than a C in maths. Well, maybe if I try again I would, but I've decided to leave it at that because I found out that the only thing that it will prohibit me from is teaching in Wales, any sort of teaching in Wales, where you need a B in English, maths and science. So not really looking to teach in Wales, if I'm being completely honest, so I think I'm gonna just leave it at that and that'll be absolutely fine. So next we'll move on to science. So I didn't do triple science, I did the core and additional OCR science, so I took my first core exam in year 10, and science is another one where it's not my strong point. I don't have a logical brain, but I revised quite hard for my year 10 science exam and I came out with a B, which I was pretty pleased with. And then I took my additional science exam in year 11, and considering I had all of my other exams on top of it, I got a B again, which I was quite impressed with because again, science really isn't my thing, and that was fine. And yeah, 3 exams, chemistry, biology and physics both years, and I was fine with a B. I got a high B in my coursework and then I think 2 Bs and a C in exams both years actually, so I was fine with that one too. So next we move on to French. Now my French coursework, I agree, I should have worked so much harder on because I got a B in French too. Now I was always a linguist in lower school for Key Stage 3 and I was really hoping for my A, which was my target grade at GCSE. Now my coursework, I got 2 A's in my speaking exams and 2 B's in my writing exams, I believe, or maybe it was a B and a C in my writing, I'm not too sure. But overall my coursework rounded itself out to a B. Now I was doing past papers, we did AQA French, and I was doing past papers and I was coming out with consistent A's and A stars. So I was really pleased and I was thinking, yes, I should get my A overall. I was doing a lot of vocab revision at home, definitely recommend Memorise because that was my life saviour at GCSE. Duolingo as well I think I used, and went in my exam pretty confident, came out okay, and I came out with a B overall, which it was a little disheartening, but it wasn't anything that I was crazy about that I got a lower grade than I expected. I was okay. Now I have a bit of an embarrassing story for this one. This is GCSE history, which I got a B for too, and this is one of the things that one of the reasons why I'm making this video about GCSEs not being the entire world even though they seem it, is because I spent an hour and a half, my poor mum waiting in the car, I spent an hour and a half crying in the toilet over my history result. I got a B in history, and history was the exam I worked so hard for. I started revising 8 months before my GCSEs and I revised consistently. I must have revised, I don't even want to calculate how many hours for both papers, and I redid my coursework. I spent hour after hour after hour improving it and I got a high A in my coursework. So I was thinking, doing practice papers all the way through the year, I was getting a mixture between B's, A's and A stars, but with the amount of revision I pumped in the month before my exam, I was thinking if any of my exams, out of all of my exams, history will be the one that I get the A or the A star in. And I was super disappointed because I got a low B in one of the exams and a high B in the other, and then an A in my coursework. So I don't really know, it must have been on the borderline, on the cusp of an A. But that was the one I was most disappointed with because, oh my goodness, I just think of all the hours I spent sat at my desk with Hitler's foreign policy and the Rhineland and the Vietnamese war drifting round my head, and my parents were just sick of all of the notes all over my walls and the ceiling, and I worked so hard for history, and I think because my expected grade was an A2, I was quite disappointed with that. But anyway, we move on. I started off A-level history, decided that it was a bit too complicated for me, and I'm fine now. And another B that I got was in GCSE drama. Now GCSE drama is one that frustrates me again because I was 1 UMS mark off of the A grade, and we were put in different groups for our final performance piece, which was the thing that let me down. I got the highest A star you could possibly get. I got full marks. I think I might have drawn 1 mark actually for my written coursework. We didn't take a final exam. I got a high A in my, we did some drama practical workshops that were filmed and sent off to the exam board, and I got a high A in that one too. I made sure I put my hand up for a lot of the questions and really got involved with that. And then here came the final exam piece. It was a devised piece and we were put in groups of 4 in the class. Now, how can I put this in a politically correct way? My drama class weren't the most focused group, and I was put with some individuals who had some very strong personalities and very strong opinions, and let's just say it took 50 minutes out of each of the hour lessons for us to actually focus and get on with some work. I ended up writing the whole script by myself, and it was an idea that I didn't really personally like, but in order for us to get on I decided to use it. And I just kind of felt like it was quite unfair because I came out with a nosey. And it was based on the Little Red Riding Hood. I know, don't ask. A GCSE drama performance piece on a nursery rhyme. Let's move on and not go into detail about that, please, because I don't want to remember it. Another exam that I worked really, really hard for was English literature, and I managed to receive an A grade, and I think I was not too far off the A star, but I was quite devastated about English literature too, because I thought actually out of the two Englishes it was the one I was strongest on. I love to read, I absolutely adored Of Mice and Men, and I worked super, super hard for it. I think I was making mind maps in halfway through year 10 on the poetry cluster because I loved it so much. But I think the thing that brought me down for English literature was the coursework. We did an essay on Macbeth at the beginning of year 10, and I got 29 out of 40, which was a B, 1 mark off of an A. And then in my 2 exams I got an A on the Of Mice and Men and Inspector Cruel section, and I got an A star on the poetry. And then we move on to English language. Now, English language, we did the Cambridge IGCSE written paper, which took me a while to get to grips with it. So if you're in year 10 right now and you're doing this exam, I presume it's different now because it's obviously the 9-to-1 grading system. But this goes across for all GCSEs. If you're getting U's because something isn't clicking in year 10, it will happen if you put the effort in, because I was getting U's consistently in this paper all the way through year 10. All of a sudden something clicked and I was getting full marks. I don't really know what happened, but I won't go into that. I won't ask questions because who am I to complain? So yeah. And then we had a speaking exam, which was, I think, out of 30 marks, and I got 29 out of 30. I did it on Disneyland and the representation of female characters in Disney films. One of my main tips is pick a topic that you're passionate about, because I really enjoyed Disney and I really enjoyed it to the point where I did that extensive research to better my own knowledge, but also because I was having fun. And the final section was the written coursework. Now initially I got a high B in my written coursework, but I wasn't impressed with this because obviously coursework is the one thing where you can redo and redraft and then send it off at its top grade, and then that saves you a little bit if you don't do as well as you'd hoped in the exam. So I redid and redid my coursework, and I think I only dropped a few marks in the end. So I had an A, 29 out of 30 in my speaking and listening, and I had the high A in my coursework. So then all I had to do is perfect that exam, that Cambridge IGCSE exam, to get the high A. And how it works with that specific section of English language is that if you get a high A in all 3 sections, they overrule your grade to an A star, because obviously you're consistently showing that you can get the A, which is what happened to me. I don't know the exact amount of marks I got in my Cambridge IGCSE paper, but I think it must have gone pretty well, so I must have got quite a high A star. And I'd also just like to say for both of my Englishes that I had 2 of the most amazing GCSE English teachers, and they pushed me to the point where I believed in myself and I have faith in myself, and the whole English department in my school are insane. And moving on. So I think with me in particular, you can really tell the subjects that I'm passionate about, because I also got an A star in GCSE media. The media industry is something that I'm really considering going into later in life. I love all aspects of media, and I was just super pleased that I got the A star, and I loved my media teacher. We got on so well, and I have her again for A-level, so that's amazing. So the media coursework consisted of a couple of essays, I think, one analysing a music video, one analysing a TV sitcom, so an episode of, I think it was an episode of Miranda, and then we had to construct our own magazine and evaluate this also. So it was sort of like a widespread, like, bam, 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 all across the media sort of thing. But it was really good, the coursework, and I think I came out with 94 out of 100 in my coursework, which I was pretty pleased with, but I'm such a perfectionist when it came to media that I was like, why can't it be 100? Ah! And there was no more time to redo. So then I built up to my exam. I had our exam on the science fiction film genre, and I think in our actual exam the questions were to make a website, something like that, to plan our own, to talk about the genre, and there was a fourth, but I can't remember what it was. I really can't remember. And I ended up with an A star in the final section of the exam, and I revised so much for media. I made little revision flashcards, and I think the thing is that I didn't feel like I was revising because I was having such fun doing it and I was learning so much about the industry, and I just had a great time. So for all you year 11s out there that are stressing, stop it right now, because there's nothing else that you can do. You'll be fine, and just enjoy your long summer because it is an absolute blessing, and I wish I could relive last year all over again just so I could do the summer. On that note, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you! Bye guys! You watch, I'll get up from this chair and it'll go squeak. Disappointing.